I asked AI to draw Durnil. Oh boy. This first one, I guess, kind of has the eye color, right? This is Durnil. This other one, I still don't really see it, but okay, AI. I'll take it. I feel like the AI's drawings are just progressively getting older and older. I guess this is like me getting all tatted up, and my name, if it was spelled with 2 D's, a V, and a W. But I gotta admit, this one is definitely the most accurate. I mean, I think it's the only drawing here that actually got the color of my hair somewhat right. Wait, each one looks like I got progressively older. Is this still somewhere in my future? Is this what I'm gonna look like? Man, the world is lucky this is not how I came out. It'd be over for you. All these women out here, lucky I got that Y chromosome. I'm 25% Italian, 50% Irish, and 25% German. If I visit Europe, will they be surprised about my mixed heritage? Will I be considered from Ireland rather from Italy and Germany since I'm 50% Irish? Oh no, did you guys find my first Quora post? It's like the most American question ever. It hurts. Dear American, says the EU, it's not that you have no culture, it's that your culture is inferior. As he sips out of his little EU mug. Heaven is where the police are British, the chefs are Italian, the mechanics are German, the lovers are French, and it's all organized by the Swiss. Hell is where the police are German, the chefs are British, the mechanics are French, the lovers are Swiss, and it is all organized by the Italians. Dang, who took the biggest L from this post? I would argue maybe the Swiss. That hurts. Everyone already knows British food isn't that good. I don't think they're too hurt by this. I'm going to assume they're referring to old German police, like from the 40s. Aw, we have a USA, China, Russia, all picking on a small France. Oh, what's this? The EU's coming to help? No, the EU is just trying to finish the job. You would think the Europeans would say France, but no, that's never the case. Meanwhile, all the bullies are just laughing more. I think in reality, the Europeans would stop us from bullying, maybe push us away, maybe body slam us, but then afterwards, they would still body slam France. England and France throughout history, we have them battling in the 12th century, them battling in the 13th century, them battling in the 14th century, them battling on the 15th century, just sides have changed, them battling in the 16th century, the flags are getting updated though, them battling in the 17th century, them battling in the 18th, and of course the 19th. Oh, wait a second, the 20th century, and all of a sudden the Germans have popped up. Never thought I'd die fighting side by side with an Englishman, says this French guy. What about side by side with a friend? I could do that. Who could have guessed just a random German guy would stop all these centuries of fighting between these two nations? I think Germany had just so much more power than we all realized. Average Americans in 2023, OMG, an earthquake, as this 6.4 magnitude shakes Northern California. Meanwhile, this average dude from a Chilean city in the 1960s just casually experiencing the most powerful earthquake ever recorded. Some studies say it was between a 9.4 and a 9.6. And keep in mind that scale is logarithmic, meaning each order of magnitude is actually 10 times more intensive than the last. I've lived in California basically my whole life. I think the biggest I've ever experienced is like maybe a 6.5. I don't exactly remember when, and I don't really wish to experience anything higher than that. Saudi Arabia to make marriage law exempt, allowing Cristiano Ronaldo to live with his partner, Georgina Rodriguez. Allah, please understand, it's Ronaldo. I mean, I think he would take it into consideration. It is Ronaldo. Like, maybe he can just like look the other way or something. What if you wanted to freeze Europe, but God said... He didn't say that, sorry. Or maybe he did, and that caused an increase in temperatures. Yeah, so far, Europe has been experiencing an abnormally hot winter. Putin ain't gonna be happy about this. With the support of the Embassy of Kazakhstan, the heating point is equipped with generators where people can warm up charged phones in case of a blackout. Stop helping Ukraine, cries Putin. Meanwhile, the Giga Chad Kazakhs are like, no. Kazakhstan's just gonna do whatever they want. I think that's very nice. Maybe since this country was technically the last of the USSR to exist, they don't appreciate two former Soviet states attacking each other. Kazakhstan's trying to claim what's rightfully all theirs. The BRICS alliance will easily defeat the West. No, USA sole superpower. Africa's population growth will inevitably make them a global superpower once they fully industrialize. 3 very different perspectives on the IQ scale, specifically if they keep up with that whole African Union plan they got going. She didn't even know that started all the way back in 1999. There was already 1.2 billion people living in this continent in 2016, and supposedly there'll be twice that by 2050. Troll farm propaganda. America occupies NATO countries. Meanwhile, in reality, we need more US troops. We already sent you 1 battalion. It's a deterrent force. You don't need more. Come on, we're at the frontier with Russia. Okay, but you only get 400 more troops. I love reviewing these memes because I see perspectives that I would have never seen otherwise. Ooh, an article from the Manila Times. Why the Philippine Navy is the most powerful navy in the world. If former President Duterte had the goal to send a lone Philippine battleship to destroy an American carrier, I bet my bottom dollar that despite America's naval supremacy Navy in the Pacific, and beyond that, aircraft carrier together with its full complement of destroyers, submarines, cruisers, helicopters, gunships, warships would have to hastily retreat at the sight of a rampaging, combat-ready Filipino warship. Probably need to be a little bit careful. I feel in any moment Pearl Harbor is going to get attacked for a second time. Luxembourg taking an example from Poland and demanding war operations for Napoleon from France, 30 Years' War from the Czech Republic, and the Roman occupation from Italy. Man, I don't know if Poland realizes the can of worms they just opened. Pretty much every country in this continent is going to have like 5 other countries they can ask reparations from. Belgium would be the craziest though, that is for sure. Romanian police on their way to arrest Andrew Tate. Yeah, this was probably one of the more patriotic things that's happened in the last 250 years. This is definitely going to go down in the Romanian history books. I think Romania is just excited to be in the meme sphere that doesn't have anything to do with the vampires or stealing things. Austrians disliking Germans. This whole thing gets really complicated out here. You know, sometimes you just kind of have to love yourself. I'll have a piece of the Alps, says Liechtenstein. Okay. And that is exactly how this tiny nation in Europe came into existence. Like Switzerland and Austria both agreed, you want to just throw this random micronation in between us, and the rest is literally history. 20-year-old Westerners, can you tell me the location of Germany? In Asia, of course. Versus 9-year-old Turkish kids, what do you think about the Turkish economy? The Turkish lira is depreciating rapidly. Erdogan does not trust foreign investors, and this causes money to come out of the country. That's why I get all my geopolitical knowledge about this country from 9-year-old Turkish kids. I just know so much. Step 1, be Turkish and invent these foods. Step 2, okay. I feel like we didn't fully grasp the consequences of inventing amazing food. I mean, everyone in the West probably should have known this was gonna happen. Why can't the best tasting food actually be good for us? Who here is a Balkaner? Okay, everyone raises their hand. Who here is a nationalist? Everyone still has their hand up. Who here lives in Balkan? Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. I mean, you know, maybe that's just a part of the fun, I guess. Slovaks in 1993, I'll make my own country with blackjack and things. Versus the Slovaks now, let me in. Let me in! Yeah, they probably want to restart that whole Czechoslovakian thing, don't they? I think it's a little bit too late for that, though. But just in case everyone needs to know this, the difference between Slovenia and Slovakia, you definitely need to know. Because the flags might seem similar, but, yeah, the citizens... very different. I just really want to see Slovakia and Slovenia form their own little union. What would that even be called? When we're making fun of Brazil for their weird coup attempt, but then the Peruvians start laughing. Yeah, and that wasn't even that long ago, was it? I mean, that was just kind of like glossed over. Peru, just try your best to be as quiet as possible right now. Yo, guys, I met the Top G Andrew Tate today in the Up Roadways bus. The Top G is not actually stuck in some sort of Romanian jail. He's actually Indian. This actually makes a whole lot more sense. No, what are you talking about? This is my original local cuisine. No, LMAO, you stole it from us. Meanwhile, you guys just eat our food, lol. We know, respond Malaysia. Is this true, Malaysia? Do you guys just kind of accept it at this point? At least you're not in denial like Singapore, I guess. Americans speak one language. Me, who's not even 21, who could speak 3. Yeah, that is a little pathetic, not gonna lie. This has actually been kind of frustrating to me, like as of recently. Like in Europe, at a very young age, a lot of countries will prioritize you need to be super fluent in a second or maybe even third language. Here in the US, you're only required like 2 years of a foreign language, even if that's only a California thing maybe. Also helps that you really can't even escape the continent without facing another language. There are 24 official ones. Like no matter where you are here, you're probably likely running into someone that speaks something else. Meanwhile, if you're living in like South Dakota, you're gonna have a very hard time coming across anyone that speaks something other than English. Speaking of which, we have Midwestern trash talk. We have better corn than you. Oh man, look at this guy. He can barely handle it. Literally like one of the worst things you could say to someone from these states. It's even your purpose anymore in life. It's already covered asking AI to create a supervillain for every country. Here's one for every state. We have Kentucky. That doesn't look anything. Wait, Louisiana, I could see that. Kansas, again, kind of corn, wheat. Iowa is just like, they look like they're part of a metal band. Washington, Wyoming, they do have a massive bull on their flag. Wisconsin's just like a dude in a red suit. New York is literally the Statue of Liberty, and Ohio is Hezbollah. It all makes sense now. Californians, when they see animal products, just any sort of animal products. This is and the rage begins in the grocery store. I've seen it happen. Or just in regular clothing stores too when it comes to fur. People from Ireland leaving their country when they ran out of potatoes. We have the USA 5,500 miles away versus England. It's Yeah, 70 miles away. Well, considering all the things, I think I kind of understand why they didn't go. Doesn't matter if this was 1 mile away, they were always gonna go left. Brazil would join a fight to defend blank country. My brother in Christ, Brazil would think twice before fighting a fight to defend itself. I've always been very curious at how well Brazil would do in some sort of military conflict. Hey, but tell them soccer's on the line and then everything will change. No one will be able to defeat them. Just realized I haven't used my passport in maybe a decade. I used it like a week ago because freaking England leave the EU. I can actually hear the accent. Can't say it, but I like that you can read it now. The English language is really beginning to divide, isn't it? Yeah, that's one fine-looking, poor, freezing Europe. Meanwhile, without the picture. But why is this not the case? Yeah, that thing looks like it's doing pretty fine. It looks actually a little bit hot in there. That is not how they said it was going to be right now. Putin, I cut off gas, so now freeze. While the EU gas storage goes brr. Is it gas storages? Is that what's helping? Romanians be like, these are actually ancient Romanian territories. Pretty much everything except for some of the islands. That's, yeah, they don't want those. They especially don't want this. And parts of Greece too, but yeah, okay, I can see how this could be the case. How can some Americans claim they're poor? I live for $300 a month here in Poland, and I'm fine. He goes on to say, stop spending so much on useless things. Meanwhile, this reply, a decent burger is $15. There are 3 meals in a day, that's $45 a day. That's $1,350 a month just in burgers, not counting other expenses. Yeah, this is unfortunately how it actually is. I mean, $15 burger is a lot, but a lot of them are like $10. It's crazy. This guy needs to check the dollar menu at McDonald's though. I don't know if it's still $1 for those, but if you're trying to eat burgers for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that should be your favorite place. Yo guys, Mediterranean gang just showed up. We have Greece, Albania, Turkey, Spain, and Croatia. No, Portugal don't touch Mediterranean. Oh yeah, good point, it don't. Mediterranean French coast is culturally Italian, so that's why they're not included. I think you're missing some places in the Balkans, technically. What about Bosnia? They have 12 miles of coastline in the Mediterranean. What about Turkey? I got a lot of questions. I just like the Portugal part. I mean, technically, he's not wrong. They're on the Atlantic side. The Republicanism leaving my body after seeing Charles III in Drip. Yeah, this just has a whole different feeling to it, doesn't it? Why isn't he walking around with his cape all the time? I would if I was him. How is it flying in the wind, too? That's crazy. Just don't focus on the hands. Make sure you hide the fingers. He should be forced to wear gloves at all times. I can't believe Caesar is really taking us to Britain. Who knows what kind of loot we'll find? Probably tons of gold and templates ready to be plundered. Strange looking blokes, aren't they? Hope they stay away from our rock pile. Do you guys even practice agriculture? And I guess this is how it was from the Roman perspective, meeting the Celts in the British Isles for the first time. My favorite thing about this is things haven't changed that much. Tourists in Prague trying their hardest to not exchange their cash with expired Belarusian rubles offered by a homeless looking guy on the street. Impossible challenge. I don't know why I'm talking like I would not do this. I would totally do the same exact thing. I wouldn't know. I made this, says Hungary to Czechia. You made this? I made this. Oh, actually, I see where they're getting at here. Part of Europe is always very complicated. Let's work together to end conflict in our continent for good, says France and Germany. And look how respectful they are about all this. Meanwhile, in Asia, China screaming bad things and Japan going commie. Yeah, and I don't think these two are ever gonna stop screaming at each other about this stuff. This is just kind of how it permanently is at this point. It's supposed to be a summary of Europe versus Asia after WW2. Now, maybe the words weren't here after WW2, but I'm pretty sure this was still going on in Asia before WW2. They're always gonna have that little eternal rivalry. Girls, you're from France? I love Paris. Okay, but Italy is very nice too. Meanwhile, boys, the Italians like, your country's trash. And then France is over here just saying the same exact thing to them. But the thing is, this is exactly how true friendship begins. These guys are now besties forever. And big thank you to my patrons. Drew's Goth Girlfriend. Triv44, aka Drew Come to Krakow, Polandnextvacation. Twickenhamster. Drew's Argentinian Grandpa. $20 is a lot, Drew. Selene. B. Wildfang. Bryton Is, Carmel Saida, DJ, McSkillet, ortin, Patrick, Allison, Robert E, the Polish Lithuanian, the Mexican 760, Veiotic, and ZaneyBoi.